Just ahead on CTV News, we take a deep dive into how the dismantling of the Department of Education affects the county. Plus,
today is Liberation Day, according to President Donald Trump. Find out what he means and what it means for American citizens coming up on CTV News.
And we hear from UMD's newest head coach. Those stories and more on CTV News, starting now.
Good evening. This is CTV News for April 2nd. I'm Mariah Jalad.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Thanks so much for joining us. Well, big changes could be on the horizon for education in Maryland. The federal government is looking at dismantling the Department of Education, and local leaders are concerned about how this could impact schools in Prince George's County and across the state. Earlier this month, President Trump signed an executive order to eliminate the Department of Education, claiming that federal control over education has failed children, teachers, and families. The move has sparked widespread concern and uncertainty, particularly in Maryland. In response, the Maryland State Department of Education issued a statement saying in part, quote, "We are currently reviewing the executive order with our legal counsel and determining the next steps. While there are many questions to be answered regarding funding and resource allocations, our vision is unchanged for public education in Maryland." However, as the fallout from this decision continues to unfold, new issues surrounding the Department of Education are coming to light.
This is yet another hit.
In a recent letter to state education chiefs, the U.S. Department of Education revealed it will stop reimbursing Maryland schools for pandemic recovery funds that were previously approved. This sudden shift has left state lawmakers and educational leaders scrambling to assess the full impact of the decision.
What we're trying to do now is to look back over, to be honest with you, line by line, and to see what those we've given you the larger buckets, but we're trying to get down to the district level to determine what those impacts are actually going to mean.
Refusing to reimburse when you've already made the commitment to do it leaves the state of Maryland and other states, frankly, it looks like they've done this across the country, really in the lurch. I mean, it's a very tough spot to put them in because they've already committed the funds that you were going to reimburse them for, and now they're in the hole for that amount.
Prince George's County Public Schools is speaking out, saying this decision puts over $400 million at risk, with PGCPS among the hardest hit districts. PGCPS says the funding allocated will have an impact on programs like mental health clinicians and immunization services, technology devices, building services, capital movements, HVAC, educator training on mitigating learning loss from COVID, and the Maryland Leads Initiative.
The federal government under the Trump administration is not only walking away from that, but throwing gasoline on the fire.
And state lawmakers and education officials say they are exploring litigation. And while on the campaign trail, President Donald Trump promised to impose tariffs on imported goods. And today, President Trump lives up to that promise.
Trump is calling today Liberation Day, and CTV's Bryce Parker has more on this developing story.
So today is the day that President Donald Trump believes will, quote, go down as one of the most important in modern American history, as the president's goal of leveling the playing field of global trade and propelling the United States back into a manufacturing superpower will begin with these following tariffs. Experts expect a universal 20% tariff to go into effect today. Additionally, a 25% tariff on auto imports and separate import taxes given to pharmaceutical drugs, lumber, copper, and computer chips. We also know that in the last 30 days, the White House has already targeted China, Canada, Mexico, and any country that imports oil from Venezuela with tariffs. Imported goods from Canada, Mexico, and any country who imports oil from Venezuela will have a 25% additional tariff, with the exception for energy imported from Canada. Canadian energy and Chinese imports will both have a lower 10% additional tariff. Now, these tariffs have garnered mixed reactions from politicians, economists, and everyday Americans, citing future tax cuts to billionaires, a tanking stock market, and price hikes for everyday American consumers and businesses as some of the concerns that will come of today's executive actions. Now, despite the criticism, the Trump administration is holding their ground, confident that their strategy will ultimately prevail. But what we do know now is that the proposed tariffs are projected to raise $600 billion in annual taxes, the largest increase since World War II. Mariah, Michaela.
And stay with CTV News as we will be bringing you more updates after President Trump addresses the tariffs later today. And while there are just 5 days left in this year's state legislative session.
And the House and Senate are busy ironing out bills and preparing a balanced budget that will eventually hit the governor's desk. The House Judiciary Committee is considering an amended version of a bill that lowers the maximum payout claims for thousands of plaintiffs who said they were abused as children while in state custody. Claims against schools or religious institutions could be capped at $700,000. Claims against government agencies would be capped at $400,000. Also, the Senate yesterday passed a package of bills aimed at lowering electricity rates for Marylanders.
That package includes a variety of electricity generation projects like solar, nuclear, and natural gas. Supporters say residents could see an average $80 per year refund on their electric bills. That legislation now moves to the House consideration, and the Senate gives final approval to its version of a bill making changes to the blueprint for Maryland's future. The vote sets up a conference committee with the House, which already approved its own version of the bill. The House and Senate will have to iron out their differences now before the end of the legislative session on Monday night.
And the Maryland General Assembly is making a successful program permanent, offering subsidies to help young adults secure affordable health insurance. This move comes at a critical time as federal threats to health coverage continue to grow. This year alone, the Young Adult Health Insurance Subsidy Pilot Program has helped over 64,000 young Marylanders enroll in coverage. The program has allowed many young adults ages 18 to 37 to access health insurance through Maryland Health Connection for the very first time.
And a coalition of attorneys general, including Anthony Brown and 2 U.S. governors, is suing the Department of Health and Human Services for terminating $11 billion in public health grants to states. According to Brown, Maryland stands to lose $200 million from what the plaintiffs are calling illegal cancellations. HHS head Robert F. Kennedy terminated the grants last week. Brown says in Maryland, the grants fund vaccination programs, track disease outbreaks, and alleviate health disparities. Now the suit seeks to block the grant terminations and prevent HHS from reinstating them.
Well, Senator Cory Booker just broke a record that stood for nearly 70 years and sent a message while doing it. The New Jersey Democrat spoke on the Senate floor for 25 hours and 5 minutes.
That beat the record set by South Carolina Senator Strom Thurmond's 1957 filibuster against civil rights, which lasted 24 hours and 18 minutes. Senator Booker torched Trump administration policies and called on Democrats to stand up and do more.
Maybe you're an immigrant that's never broken the law. Maybe you're a citizen. Even if you think the administration's immigration agenda doesn't apply to you, please know that the reckless behavior we're seeing erodes all of our rights. The disturbing failure to understand how America's partnerships and investments abroad protect and benefit communities here. I'm reminded of General Mattis to say, if you're cutting things like the USAID or the State Department, buy me more bullets. This is a moral moment. It's not left or right, it's right or wrong. Let's get in good trouble. My friend, Madam President, I yield the floor.
His marathon speech drew national attention and a standing ovation. And you're watching CTV News. I'm Mariah Jalad.
And I'm Michaela Newton. Still to come, Maryland has seen a drop in overdose deaths over the last year.
After the break, learn how the state achieved this and what work still needs to be done. Back in a moment.
Hi, I'm Monica McNutt, host, basketball analyst, and reporter at ESPN and MSG Networks covering the New York Knicks in New York.
Hi, I'm Janine Samuels. I'm an evening news anchor right here in Richmond, Virginia at WTVR CBS 6, and I'm also the in-game host for the Washington Commanders.
My name is Samantha Akinduro, and I am a content producer at NBC4 in Washington, D.C.
And I gotta be honest, I don't know if those things or that little statue would have been available to me if not for the opportunity that Prince George's Community Television gave me.
My journalism career actually started at CTV News in Prince George's County.
I have been a part of CTV News, the CTV News family, for many, many years. Goes way back to my senior year in high school and at Suitland High School.
The skills, the knowledge, and the teaching that I was able to absorb at CTV News was invaluable in me being able to eventually go from being a freelancer to a full-time news anchor.
As a Prince George's County native, that was an incredible training ground for me to cover the community that I grew up in and get valuable reps that would help power me to the next step of my career.
CTV is able to focus on those local stories, the ones that impact Prince George's County and Montgomery County. We're able to really dig deep into the community and the lives of everyone that watches CTV News.
CTV is home to me.
It truly breaks my heart to hear that it may have to close its doors.
This is a valuable resource, not just for the people that go through as journalists, but also a valuable resource for the community.
I am here to offer my support to continue funding and supporting Prince George's County Community Television, CTV News.
I cannot reiterate enough how powerful that space was to help a little black girl like me from Prince George's County to go on and pursue my dreams and achieve them, honestly. I really, really hope the decision to close those doors is reconsidered, because Prince George's Community Television is an absolute asset to the community and to the people that are able to come through those doors to hone their craft. Thank you.
Welcome back. Maryland's Office of Overdose Response hosts its first substance abuse awareness rally in Annapolis. The state has seen a drop in overdose deaths over the last year, but the work isn't done yet.
This cuts across everybody, hits all of us.
Progress on the opioid crisis that has crippled the nation. In Maryland last year, overdose deaths dropped by more than 30% from the year before, but the problem isn't solved yet. That was clear from just how many have been touched by this epidemic.
I lost my brother-in-law to opioid overdose.
My father struggled with addiction, which is how I ended up in foster care. My brother 4 years ago lost his battle with addiction and succumbed to an overdose with fentanyl.
Several years ago, I lost my oldest friend to an overdose.
The Office of Overdose Response is advocating for legislation that addresses the crisis and addresses those struggling with compassion.
People do not want to support them, but guess what? People are using the drugs anyway. Isn't it best to give them the support they need and not find them in a dark alley, in a bathroom, with not a loved one around?
Delegate Pena Melnick's House Bill 845 advocates for harm reduction by allowing communities to open overdose prevention centers. Another delegate is sponsoring decriminalizing harm reduction tools.
If you are a student in your school and you are carrying Narcan to save the life of a classmate, you shouldn't get in trouble for it.
Substance abuse and overdose deaths have to be addressed by every single level of government and every actor in government. We all have a role to play.
And today, the state Senate hears legislation that would designate $50,000 to training paramedics to administer buprenorphine, the first medication to treat opioid use disorder. And Prince George's police are investigating a fatal pedestrian crash this morning. It happened in the area of 55th Avenue and Landover Road at 6 a.m. Officers found a woman suffering from trauma, and she was later pronounced dead on the scene. Police closed off the westbound lanes of Annapolis Road at Landover Road at 6:45, and they were reopened after 11. Investigators are working to determine the cause of the crash. And 2 men from Prince George's are found guilty in a retrial case. A jury found 34-year-old Marcus Chapman and 28-year-old Jose Vasquez guilty of second-degree murder, conspiracy to murder, and other charges. The victim is 31-year-old Jarrell Thompson.
And officials say Chapman, Vasquez, and Thompson went to MGM Casino at the National Harbor back in 2023. The trio left the casino and went to Hyattsville, where Thompson was later found dead. Chapman and Vasquez are set to be sentenced in July. And a federal judge dismisses a lawsuit involving the University of Maryland and some fraternities that were suspended from on-campus activities. Last year, 4 fraternities and 3 people filed a lawsuit against UMD and its president, Daryl Pines.
The plaintiffs say the university violated their free speech. This lawsuit stems from UMD implementing a temporary pause on new member activities for all Interfraternity Council and Pan-Hellenic Association chapters. However, after the pause, 5 chapters still remain under investigation by the university.
And around 20 University of Maryland graduate students and community members gathered outside the International Student and Scholar Services office Monday, calling for action to protect international students. The protest, organized by the Graduate Labor Union, comes in response to concerns over the federal government potentially revoking visas and student statuses for non-citizens. The group is pushing for the university to create a system to keep international students informed about their status and hold a town hall to address concerns about U.S. immigration and customs enforcement. And the U.S. Naval Academy has removed nearly 400 books from its library after being told by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's office to review and get rid of ones that promote diversity, equity, and inclusion. Academy officials were told to review the library late last week, and an initial search had identified about 900 books for a closer look. They decided on nearly 400 to remove and began doing so on Monday. A list of the books has not yet been made available, and pulling the books off the shelves is another step in the Trump administration's far-reaching effort to eliminate so-called DEI content from federal agencies. And still to come on CTV News, it's Wednesday, so you know what that means.
After the break, we have our Pet of the Week. Stay with us.
I came to CTV knowing almost nothing about the production side of media, but I've learned so much since being here in 2 months.
When I came to CTV, I knew this is the industry that I wanted to be in.
This gave me an opportunity to be able to see a whole bunch of different fields of what of my whole big field that I wanted to do.
CTV, it's very involved in the community.
It's not just a TV station, it's a place where you can really learn.
I learned that I'm more capable than I think I am.
I feel like I'm able to put the skills I've been learning at school to test.
If I were to think of a word that sums up my experience at CTV, it would be amazing.
CTV is the perfect spot. There are a lot of people here who just want to see you succeed.
You're going to meet some great people, some lifelong friends, and some lifelong connections that can't do anything but benefit you.
If you want to find a place that will definitely 100% give you an opportunity and believe in you, then come to CTV, because CTV is here to help us.
You should think about the youth that are here. That's where people's lives start.
We are young people that we need the resources to grow and to learn more and better with our craft.
I really enjoy being here, and I wish I can do it again.
An Upper Marlboro man pleads guilty to playing a big part in a money laundering conspiracy. The defendant, nicknamed Gift, pled guilty in court Tuesday to serving as a manager and supervisor to multiple co-conspirators that laundered proceeds of a large-scale wire fraud between 2021 and 2024. In the plea agreement, he admits to laundering more than $20 million in stolen goods from at least 15 different victims. Gift is set to face a maximum sentence of 20 years in federal prison. His sentencing is set for June 30th.
Well, lawmakers in Annapolis have approved a bill to create a reparations commission in Maryland to study inequities faced by descendants of enslaved Africans. There was some opposition, including amendments on school choice, with Republican delegate Mark Fisher claiming Black children's struggles are tied to current public education policies, not slavery. None of the amendments passed. A similar bill has already passed in the Senate, and final approval is expected by the end of the legislative session on Monday. And attention TikTokers, President Donald Trump has signaled that he is confident his administration can broker an agreement with ByteDance, the app's Chinese parent company, before the April 5th deadline. A law requiring ByteDance to sell TikTok took effect on January 19th.
And after taking office, Trump signed an executive order that delayed enforcement of the ban for 75 days. Now, if TikTok is not sold to an approved buyer by April 5th, the original law that bans it nationwide would once again go into effect.
Time for our pet of the week. Meet Olivia. She's a 2-year-old brown and white bulldog mix.
She's been at the shelter since February 28th. Animal management says Olivia is all about her treats.
She is about her treats. In fact, when you give them to her, just please put them on the ground because she'll mistake your finger as a treat as well. She loves belly rubs, just loves being with her people. She needs to go on a little bit of a weight loss journey. So if you're looking for somebody that could be a potentially good walking buddy, she's your girl.
And if you'd like to adopt Olivia or any of her furry friends, call Animal Management at 301-780-7200.
All right, guys, don't go anywhere because Simon Buggs is here with our Wednesday Sports page.
That's right, and I hear we got some exciting news from the UMD Terps. Simon?
What's up, everybody? Coming right up, I'm here in College Park with the new head coach of the men's basketball team was introduced. And I'll have more what he had to say in a bit. Stay right there.
This is my house. My parents helped build it. Now we don't get wet when it rains. I don't get too hot or too cold inside. And I don't have to worry when the winds blow. This is my house.
This is my house. This is my house. This is my house. My house. My house.
I can play with my sister. I can play with my brother. I can play with my mother, my father, my family.
My family. My family. This is my house. This is my house.
I can study. I can be safe with my family. This is my house.
This is my house. This is my house. This is my house.
My house.
My house.
This is my house.
Visit Habitat.org to find out how you can help more families like mine have a safe, decent place to call home.
Wake up and clear the clutter. Send your old electronics packing. In Maryland, you can e-cycle through many manufacturers or through your county, and usually it's free. Visit mde.maryland.gov/e-cycling to find out how to recycle electronics in your county. mde.maryland.gov/e-cycling.
Our individual voices are powerful, but not everything has a voice. Let us be a voice to the voiceless, the caretakers our home deserves. If there's one thing we've learned, it's that when we all come together, the sky is the limit. It's time to speak up for nature.
What's going on, everybody? Are you ready? Because it's finally time for your Wednesday Sports page. Let's get into it. We begin with some exciting highlights from the world of high school baseball.
The Suitland High School baseball team took a trip to Upper Marlboro yesterday afternoon to try and get a win against Wise. The Pumas got off to a good start as its pitching error by the Rams that resulted in a run for Wise helped them jump out to a 7-4 lead by the end of the first inning. But in the second inning, because of some pitching errors by the Pumas and some nice hits from Suitland like this double that resulted in an RBI, helped the Rams close the gap. Moving on to the third inning, Suitland did make some nice plays on defense like this nice catch by number 19 to get an out for his team. But Wise was eventually able to put another run on the board as left fielder and first baseman Cameron Cofer had this big hit to left field, and utility player Marquise Harris was able to bring it home. Wise was able to score one more run before the end of the inning as another costly pitching error by the Rams allowed infielder Elijah Reed to get to home plate. And in the end, the Pumas came out on top, beating Suitland 13-11. Meanwhile, College Park is buzzing right now as the Terps men's basketball team has hired their next head coach in Buzz Williams. Williams was previously at Texas A&M before coming to Maryland, where he was a two-time SEC Coach of the Year. Williams' introductory press conference was held earlier today, and the Texas native is adamant about coaching up the Terps to live up to their potential.
I think what's important is for you to know that anybody associated with the team that we'll be a part of now will give their best. And we'll give our best from early in the morning until we can't go anymore. And all of us will have an insatiable desire to figure out how to change our best. Because staying status quo, we know, is never good enough.
Man, I can't wait to see what Coach Williams does for the team next year. And that wraps up your Wednesday sports page. From College Park, Simon Buggs, CTV Sports.
All right, Simon, before we go, let's get a look at our 3-day weather forecast. Tonight, we'll have wind gusts of up to 25 miles per hour, but get your umbrellas out because we'll have rain throughout the weekend. Tomorrow, it's going to be 80 degrees. Expect some fog in the morning. Friday, we have a 50% chance of rain. We'll have a high of 72. And Saturday, we'll have a high of 72 and a low of 62.
And for our community calendar, tomorrow, the first Chesapeake Robotics Competition kicks off. The 3-day robotics competition will feature students from Maryland, Virginia, and the district. The event aims to inspire a lifelong passion for STEM and fuel the aspirations of young dreamers. This event takes place from 5 to 9 o'clock. For more information, visit firstchesapeake.org.
Well, that wraps up CTV News for now. Thanks so much for joining us.
We'll see you again tomorrow. Good night.
Hello, I'm Sandra F. Peaches, Executive Director of Prince George's Community Television. I'm reaching out today with an urgent message. CTV needs your help. The county's current proposed budget is about to silence your voice. The proposed budget presented to the County Council calls for the closing of PGCTV in the upcoming fiscal year. For more than 40 years, Prince George's Community Television has been your independent voice in the community, providing essential news related to county events, the people, and services. Most importantly, our volunteer public access producers create hundreds of hours of programming each year. The programming that tells the stories of people in Prince George's County. We connect residents to critical information, provide a voice for underrepresented communities, and help to foster a deeper sense of connection within the diverse communities residing in our county and state. We're known as a hub for career development, having provided invaluable internships and volunteer opportunities for hundreds of young people, helping them build futures in broadcasting and film. Our success stories are both in front of and behind the lens at every local network in the DMV and countless others throughout the United States. If we lose Prince George's Community Television, we not only lose a place for hands-on learning, but also the voice and connection that helps our community be informed and united. This is your station. Do not let your voice be silenced. Please contact the Prince George's County Council. Ask that PGCTV, the voice of the county, be saved and fully funded. Together, we can make a difference.